Hello, everyone. Um, Thank you so much for being here today with us and to attend this seminar. Very strange time to meet, let's say. I hope you are safe and your family is safe and you are maintaining social distance. Living in strange times, um, and I hope this time will pass soon. So today we are going to talk about how to work remotely. This is a webinar format. So if you have any questions, you'll be seeing a Q&A tab at the bottom of your screen. You can ask us those questions. You can also chat with everyone. I'll just go ahead and share my screen. Awesome. So let's start. I'm just going to cover the things that we are going to talk about today. So thank you so much for sharing your questions with us. Those questions were really helpful in order to draft this webinar and in order to let everyone, in order to answer all of your questions. So we are going to talk about how to work effectively when you are remote, then how to hire the right people while being remote, then how do you work effectively as a manager. So let's say if you're managing a team, this section or this topic is going to be really relevant for you. Then building culture is really tricky when it comes to remote teams, and uh, often we see that it is the culture is the biggest problem when it comes to remote company. So we'll talk about how to build a great company culture while being remote. Then I've seen a lot of companies who work remotely, and I've seen a lot of common errors. So we'll talk about those common errors so that you can avoid those errors. Then there'll be some general tips, your questions, our answers, and so on. And then we'll give you a way to contact us for any future questions if you have any. About me, I am Nitesh Agrawal. I founded a company called Indies. Indies is a feature of our community which has more than 16,000 developers, designers, and product managers from 40 plus countries. Indies was acquired by a company called GoScale. Um, and as of now, I am leading a department called CrewScale, which is the world's biggest remote remote work community. In the past, I have directly and indirectly managed a team of 110 people who were working remotely, and they were from 18 plus countries. I've been working remotely for the last 4 years. I've written a lot on remote work. My blogs have 100,000 plus reads, and I've spoken a lot of conferences and events about remote work as well. As I said, I built, scaled, and sold a company which was in the remote work domain. So I have a lot to talk about this domain, and I've been seeing this domain for the last 4 years very closely. 4 years back, I was someone who used to dress up in office attire, pant and shirt every day, and go to office. 4 years back, I decided to change my life drastically and move to remote work setup and start Indies. Moving from an office attire to wearing pajamas every day was a big shift for me personally, but I looking back, I think that was possibly one of the best decisions of my life. These are some of the places where I've worked from. As I've worked from 15 plus countries in the last 4 years. You can see Vietnam, San Francisco, Himalayas, Bangalore, all over the world. I really enjoy being remote, and I really enjoy the remote lifestyle. So I have just one advice for you, that you should embrace this new way of working. It is awesome. I have lived it for the last 4 years, and I really believe in it. It is awesome if you're able to make the most out of it. Let's face it, remote work is here to stay. As of now, we are doing a worldwide experimentation on remote work. We don't know how it is going to turn out. This was totally unexpected. No one ever imagined that that everyone will be working remotely in January. But remote work has been on the rise for a while now, and in fact, you will be working remotely for at least a few days in a week going forward. So remote work is here to stay. I mean, it is going to be really helpful for you to make the most out of this and to be really effective while working remotely. I'm sure it is going to be a big shift for a lot of you while coming from an office environment to a remote setup. It was very difficult for me initially as well, like 4 years back, but now I can remote work very easily. In fact, some of our favorite companies are working remotely. For example, WordPress is remote, 70% of internet, GitLab, Envision, Stripe. These are some of my favorite companies and some of yours too, I believe. So we have been working remote. These companies have been working remotely, and they have proved to some extent that scaling a company remotely is totally possible, and you can build an awesome company while being remote. So let us jump in about how to be an effective remote worker. We'll talk about several points. As you can feel free to make notes if you want to. So the first thing first, you'll have to set up a workstation. Get good internet, have a clean desk, have a good chair. Setting a workstation is important because your subconscious mind will think that this is where I work. This is where I am in a work mindset. So uh, setting up a workstation would really boost up your productivity. However, it might be the case that your workstation is occupied by some other family member, or you didn't prepare a workstation and now there's a lockdown. You can totally work out of bed. Just one hack, that always make your bed before working out of it. If you don't make your bed, you'll feel very drowsy. Also, you should use things which brings some positive energy to your environment. For example, plants and scents, or like humidifier, uh, or vaporizer. This is really important. So practicing good meeting etiquettes is the key for remote work. Meetings are very important when it comes to remote work because there are very few meetings, but they become really important in this setup, because in an office setup you can just like go and call someone if you forget about something, right? Here things are very different because you might not be able to get hold of someone uh, if that person is unavailable at that particular time. So a few things to note while while being in a meeting. So always be a few minutes early to the meeting. You're not going to lose anything, but you can use that time to check your video, to check your audio, to check everything is working at your end. Meetings should be made human. I've seen a lot of companies doing this mistake when they are doing a remote meeting, they don't turn on their video. It doesn't make sense. Why? Because if the video is not turned on, you feel like you are speaking to a bot. There's no connection to it. While there's a video, you are communicating a lot of data points by your hands, by the way you're speaking, by your face. So don't lose out on those points. Always always switch on the video. This is very general. I mean, you should always have an agenda for the meeting. This is not related to remote work, but it is important for remote work, that because your meetings, they are supposed to be very productive. So have an agenda for the meeting, and you can share this agenda with everyone before the meeting so that everyone is prepared. By that way, you can cut the meeting short and go back to your work. Often, like, we switch off our video and we fiddle on our phone, or we don't pay attention at all, or we just shut off. That is wrong. It is plain simple wrong. I mean, just like drop off that meeting, or pay respect to the host. So always pay attention to the meeting, and after meeting, share notes. This is again like general thing, but especially important for remote work. Often while being remote, like there are always like a few people who are who are sort of like difficult to get hold of. We Managers forget about them, or the managers like don't speak to them very often. Or often, like, let's say if I'm not getting any work, or if I don't have like direct manager, then I would just become invisible so that I can avoid work. So I mean, that is just like doing injustice to yourself. You should always make yourself at work. There are a few ways to do that. So you should regularly post on your common team channel. You can post about things like what are you working on, if there's a win that we should celebrate, or if there's a loss, uh, or if you're stuck somewhere, or if you need help somewhere. You can post about these things on common channel, and these things will help you build a better relationship with your team. This is for your team. But let's say if you want, let's say when you're in office setup, you're always like hanging out with people other apart from your team members. So for to do this, you can post on general channels like random everyone, or that you can make a lot of other channels which we are going to talk about. But this might be a good way to interact with other team members and to be in touch with them. Another thing is, often I've seen this happening, that we wait for a particular call to happen, like a scheduled call to happen. We wait for the next early morning to communicate something which had to be communicated earlier. So I mean, you don't have to hold on to your updates. You can update without someone asking you. Usually, you can do an update like early in the morning or later in the evening. Always be active on Slack and WhatsApp. Try and reply quickly as much as you can. Also, you should tell your manager and your team what you're working on. This way, there'll not be any double work, and you will always be visible about whatever you're working on. I'm sure you guys know this, but this is possibly one of the most important things while working remotely. You'll have to document whatever you're doing, and you have to communicate very effectively. Try and learn to document more than normal. For example, there are a bunch of things to document, like after meeting thoughts, or like your ideas. You can detail out your ideas. You can figure out the next steps, and you can really detail them out, like what is everyone going to do. This will help you communicate better and to bring everyone on the same page. This is true for everyone in the team. They should document more than normal. uh, Additionally, some visual collaboration helps in communication. For example, often you have a whiteboard to explain things while you're working in an office setup. While being remote, you can leverage awesome tools like Miro.com, which is a virtual whiteboard, to collaborate virtually with your team members. You can run sprints, you can do retrospection, you can do creative exercises while using Miro. Another thing which we often miss out on, and when you are remote, this is important, that you're always open and you communicate about the things that are very personal to you. Like you should communicate your feelings. So sharing things like what's going well and what's not going well will help managers and executives to align everyone and to resolve those things. Let's say if you need help, if you are not liking your work, or let's say if your project is not good, if you're not enjoying your work, you should always very communicate early. In an office setup, you can do that. You can be late in these communications, but in a remote setup, this will bite you very very soon, because there'll be no one to discuss things with. A lot of you asked like how to be productive while working remotely. So this is possibly the best time to be insanely productive. How do you do that? Is by experimentation. So each and every person has their own unique traits. For example, like when I started working remotely, I used to work out of my pajamas all the time, and I was not productive. I need like regular clothing, like jeans and t-shirt to work. So this was a big finding for me. Mornings are better for me. For some people who I know, like late nights are awesome for them, or like afternoons are awesome for them, where they can like really do quality work. So try and analyze that. Like note down whenever you're doing the most quality work. It's very simple. Just like say morning quality work or no, afternoon quality work or no, evening quality work or no, or late night quality work or no, and just like record it for 4 or 5 days. You will know that okay, which part of the day is your peak time. Then you can also experiment with music. Some people like music, some people don't like music. For example, I like to listen to trance while working. So this was a finding for me. Um, so I'm very productive when I'm listening to trance. And also like where you work, like is the window better for you, or you like to like stare at a wall, or you like posters. I mean, so you'll have to experiment on these things to be productive. Then make a routine. This is obvious. I mean, but often like while being remote, making routine becomes difficult. Often you would find yourself doing Netflix till late night, and then you'll miss out on your workout early morning. But there's no point in doing that. You'll hamper your own productivity. Just make a routine. This is the best time to make efficient use of calendar. So as you know, like time is limited. So make the most out of your time. How? By finding your focus time. As I said, like find your times for peak productivity. So same thing, like find your time for high productivity, let's say afternoon, and keep a chunk of that time free, like 2 to 3 hours free. Don't schedule any meeting during that time, because that is your most productive time. You should also plan your day and week. This is a template that I personally made and that I personally follow. Um, it is about planning your week. So when you have week planned, you will be able to you'll be able to decide like these are the major things that you're going to do this week, and you'll be able to deliver that chunk of work in one go, in one period. So that helps you keep track of progress and to be productive as well. Often like when you're in an office setup, you just say, okay, I'll take care of this, I'll take care of this, right? While in a remote setup, it is very difficult to be uh, it is just impossible to be disorganized. I mean, you'll have to be organized. So you'll have to set clear responsibilities and make yourself accountable for them. Otherwise, you'll be at a very low productivity, and you'll not be able to deliver those things. A very very easy way to do that is by using a good project management tool. You can use Asana, Notion, GitHub, Trello, Jira. There are actually a bunch of those tools. Any tool that suits you or your team, you can pick that up and adhere to that tool. So let's say, for example, if we decide on an action item after the meeting, that should go into that tool right away. We use Asana in Notion ourselves, and you can use any other tool, as I said. A very effective hack that I found over the course of time is uh, by making your team accountable for effectively using these tools. So let's say you have a peer group. Uh, for example, I have Mark and Tim in my team. So Mark really like pushes Tim and me uh, to keep Asana updated always. Right? Let's say if we decide on Slack that okay, I'll have to do this, I have to make sure that I go to Asana and add a task. Or let's say if we do a meeting and decide on an action item, like all of those action items goes to Asana. These make this very simple step makes the responsibilities very clear and make you accountable as well. While you're working remotely, I mean, it might be difficult to make sense with your colleagues. So you'll have to you have to take some extra effort to connect with your team members. Why this is important? Because this way you'll be updated about what is going on in your team, manage your own emotions. For example, you can talk about things that are worrying you about the company, about a project, about a particular team, and you can really open up. So it is very important to build those relationships with your colleagues and team members. A very very basic or easy way to do that is by scheduling virtual coffee or dinner or lunch, like once every week. Like you can just say, hey Tim, hey Mark, let's do lunch together today. Nothing fancy or nothing big. Like very simple, very straightforward. Just doing a lunch together. By that, and during that time, you can chat about a bunch of things. Like politics, Biden dropping out, or let's say, or, or corona or any other things. So that will help you build good relationship with your team member, and it is very easy to do as well. There are a bunch of tools on Slack, for example, Donut app, which you can install, and it will facilitate this kind of conversations. But you should be proactive doing these things. Another thing is like you can have a dedicated team meeting for getting to know each other. So example, like Fridays or Thursdays, like we used to do that. We used to have a thing called happy hour every week, where we would like just catch up with everyone, like, hey, what is up in their life, what is up with their families and stuff. So that way we built like really personal relationship with everyone in the team. It was very effective, and we really got to know each other. uh, so some important hacks that has worked well for me, which I would like to share with you all. uh, while working remotely or while just being at home, it might be difficult, or it might be like boring to take shower or to get ready every day. But getting ready every day is important, because that way you'll make your subconscious mind think that okay, I have to go to office, or I have to start working. So make that as a part of your routine. Get ready every day, dress up, take shower, like, and then that, by that way you will be productive throughout the day. Also, like, it is very easy to just sit on a desk for a long time and just like continue to work. Over the course of time, if you continue to do that, your productivity will be hurt and you'll feel burnt out. So it is very important to get some sunshine, to stretch every once in a while you're working. This will help you manage your emotional stress level. The biggest challenge that remote workers face is shutting off. In fact, Buffer, a remote work promotional company, said that shutting off is possibly the most difficult part for remote workers. If you are facing this as of now, you are not alone. Close to 40 to 50% remote workers have this problem. But I mean, it can be tackled by setting aside a time when you'll stop working. It can be like later in the night, for example, 9 p.m., 10 p.m., but set aside a time that okay, you will not stop, you'll stop work at that time. um, this will help you avoid burnout and stress, because if you continue to work late nights, and you don't shut off, in a week's or a couple of weeks time, you'll feel that you're burned out, like you're just stressed. These are like some very basic remote work pitfalls that I have seen. So fear of missing out, like, I don't know what is going on with my team or what is going on in the company. That is like, I mean, that happens. So just go ahead and like be proactive and chat with people. Or trusting your teammates or trusting your fellow colleagues is going to be difficult. So you can use this time to trust people. Um, Often, like, you feel like, okay, I don't have to ask anyone about this particular task, and I'll just do it myself. Don't do that. I mean, there's no point in doing that. Be collaborative. Reach out to people for help. Ask questions. Uh, Avoid burning out and getting and being stressed by exercising, by meditating, or by stretching and taking walks. Uh, a lot of you have asked like how to hire great employees. Uh, we'll get to questions towards the end. So if you have questions, I'll appreciate if you can hold on to that. So how to hire great remote employees? A lot of you have asked this question, and a lot of you will be hiring remote employees for the first time. I have taken approximately 4,000 plus interviews to hire remote developers myself, and I've hired a lot of people remotely. So I have a few insights that I would like to share here. First is sourcing. So there are a bunch of remote first marketplaces now. Ours is one, Indies and Skill. Then there's TopTal, of course, and there are like dedicated job boards for remote work. For example, We Work Remotely, Angel List, and Remote OK. Shameless plug. I mean, at Indies, we can help you hire a really awesome developer who was vetted on their skills, on their professionalism, on their communication, and on their ability to work remotely. And you can hire such awesome developers and designers at $40 an hour, which is possibly the best price in the industry. For example, at TopTel, you'll have to pay approximately $80 to $100, which is almost double and more than double. So again, like a shameless plug, if you need to hire anyone, or if you know anyone is hiring, I'll appreciate if you can refer Indies to them. Going ahead, so you'll have to check some new skills while hiring. So communication ability becomes really important when you are hiring remote workers. If someone is not able to communicate their thoughts in both in oral and in a written format, they are going to be difficult to work with. So it is really, really important that you check for communication ability. How do you do that? Is by asking them to share a write up on something, like share a write up on their thoughts, or just asking them to explain a very complex topic, and just understanding how are they explaining those things. uh, Check about proactivity. Like a person should take initiative. Let's say if a person is very laid back, then they'll have a hard time in a remote work setup, and they might not be the best employee to hire. uh, so you can ask questions like, how tell me about a time when you took initiative, or ask them like situational question or case based question, that how will you tackle this scenario. That way you can check proactivity. Also, transparency is very important. Why? Because building trust in a remote team is really important. Transparency brings trust. So if someone can share their thoughts clearly, that I don't want to do this work, or I don't like this, or I really like this, I want to do this kind of work, they are going to thrive in a remote work setup. So it is important to be transparent. You'll have to improve your interview process. So always take multiple round. uh, so 3 to 4 round is ideal. Always have multiple interviewers on the panel. So it is, I mean, while you're in office, it might have been difficult, but here you'll have to do that. You'll have to have multiple interviewers so that you have multiple opinions about a particular candidate. Then this hack, which has worked really well for me. So you can schedule half day or day long co-working sessions with a new hire, to see how they think, like how are they in terms of like working remotely. You can give them a project and be on a Zoom call for, let's say, 3 to 4 hours, and let them complete that project. They can ask you questions if they have any. A fourth point is possibly the most crucial, because in a remote work setup, you don't know what background a person has. So always take multiple references before rolling out an offer. What I mean by that is, ask people who have worked with this person before. Ask for like communication ability, ask for difficult scenario, ask for things like proactiveness, ask for things like trustworthiness. So this will help you hire the best possible candidate for the remote work setup. Of course, you should check for all the skills. You should check for all the things that you were checking out for before. For example, your culture, your skills. But along with those things, you'll have to check for these things as well. Once you've hired, how to onboard a remote employee? It is very obvious. So you should introduce new member to everyone. Uh, for example, let's say this is a message that I sent out to everyone. Tim joined us some time back, and this is a message I sent out to everyone in the team, that okay, this person has joined, and we have a set of questions that we ask them to make ourselves familiar with a new person. This breaks the ice and helps the new person familiarize with everyone in the team member. You can use apps to onboard people faster. For example, Notion, Loom, and Donut. Notion is you can have all your company's mission, vision, FAQs, all your blogs, all your news media, all those things which are required to onboard a member faster in Notion. You can also set up Loom to walk them. Loom is a tool where you can record your video and record your screen as well. So you can use Loom to walk them through your processes, or the tools that you're using, or to your team member. Donut is a cool Slack bot which pairs random people together. So it will pair a new joinee with a previous person, and they can do a virtual coffee chat, or they can do a virtual lunch or dinner, whatever they would like to do. That will help everyone familiarize with the new member. Having rituals is a key, is a unique. For example, every company has their own rituals. Google has a thing called Nooglers, if you're familiar with them. Netflix has a ritual where all the new joinees have to perform a skit in front of everyone. What a brilliant way to inculcate the culture and to get familiarized with everyone, right? So you can do the same thing. I mean, just make them, to start with, just make them fun and easygoing. Like very simple, very easy things to do. For example, like whenever a new team member joins, organize a team-wide lunch, or organize a game, maybe a poker game, maybe a board game, or maybe like a common movie, um, or, or like they can sing, they can play, or any other people can sing, other people can play. They can give a tour of their house to everyone, or they can intro to their family. I mean, there are a bunch of things that you can possibly follow, but these are some new ways to these are some possible new ways to onboard a new member. Also, I mean, I've had a lot of failed experiment which did not work. So you should know that when to shut them off, and when to move to the next one. So if something is not working well, just shut it off. It is okay, you know. Uh, Managers are really important when it comes to this kind of setup. So check in with your team members multiple times during the day, because they might be lost in a remote setup. You know, they don't know like who to reach out to for what, or like what to do in a scenario like this. So just like make sure your team members are okay. You know, you can help you can help your new team members to plan their first week or first 2 weeks by essentially giving them tasks which are easy to lift and easy to finish in a week or so. Of course, you're going to introduce them to your team, and like while being on a regular call, let's say daily scrum or daily catch up call or weekly catch up call, encourage them to speak on that. You know, like ask them, hey Tim, what is your opinion? Or hey Mark, can you shed some more light on this? What do you think about this? Right. So this will help them familiarize with the other team members. A lot of you have asked like, how do I manage my team? Or how do I track my team member? How to make sure that my team members are working effectively? So these are some tricks and tips that I've learned over the course of time. So having async standups saves a lot of time. What do I mean by that? Is essentially like you can set up a geek bot, or or like without even a bot, just have everyone update what they're up to today. So it can be done in a very simple format, like what are they going to do today, what did they do yesterday, and are there any blockers? Three simple questions, and everyone can answer these three questions. That way, whenever you are meeting, you'll save a lot of time, and you just focus on things that are relevant and clear blockers. So that way, you'll be very productive while being in a meeting, and you'll be able to work effectively as well. Another positive point of this is that everything is recorded in the format of text. So let's say if you want to track someone's performance, you can always like see if they did that particular work or not. You should plan weekly deliverables with the team. So work with the team, and as I said, like a week is an awesome time. It is not too less, not too much, to have something noteworthy shipping. Right? You can ship a lot of things in during a week. So plan with your team and deliver a chunk of work during this time. Work with your team members to set clear deliverables for those weeks. For example, like that, okay, we'll work on blog versus we'll ship and publish 2 blogs, if you're able to notice the difference. So always have like smart goals, simple, measurable, attainable, time bound, and something with R&D. I'm forgetting that, but have smart goals. A lot of you have asked like, how do I track progress? It's very easy, right? I mean, like just record all the actions that is being discussed, and add them to a project management tool, and see if someone is checking off those tasks or not. Right? It's very obvious from that standpoint. For example, let's say if we discussed 5 action items against Mark today, I'll just add those 5 action items to Asana, and I will know towards the end of the week if those action items were complete. I'll uh, I'll know if they were marked yes or no. Very simple, right? So this way you'll be able to track how your team is doing. Similar things. Just one thing is you can set OKRs to give everyone clear direction and thrive. This actually OKRs really help in a remote work setup, because that way you can align everyone towards one common goal. Managers should be human. I've seen this a lot, that managers do this mistake, that they will call everyone at 10:30, or they'll just like drop in a message, hey team, let's get on a call at 10:30 p.m. or 11 p.m. Come on, I mean, you don't do that. Other people have life if you don't have life. Come on, right? I mean, you should always show empathy. that if someone is ill, you should give them time. That okay, like recover. Like you don't have to schedule late night meetings. Don't expect your team to be working like for 14, 15 hours, like because in an office setup, it is difficult to shut off, right? I mean, so you would just like drop in a message at 10 p.m. that hey, what is happening on this, and people will have to work late night to complete those things. Always be always contactable. So always be available on Slack or WhatsApp or any other tool that you are using for communication. This will this will help resolve things fast. And one big thing is please don't micromanage. There's no point in micromanaging in this setup. Trust your team members; they will be able to do things. While in a remote work setup, one-on-ones become really important. So you should schedule at least one-on-one with your team members or your peers. So one-on-ones are the time where you can discuss things about how are things going on, like if they are going well, or if something has to be like looked after, or or something has to be improved, or other things. Like so this is a good time to catch up with your team members and really like connect with them. Ask them about their family. Ask them how are they doing. Are they happy? Are they healthy? Things like that. This will help you build a great relationship with your team members. A lot of you have asked this, like how do we build a great company culture? uh, I have some hacks which I have used myself to uh, to build a great company culture. So have an off work call scheduled. So for example, every day 7 p.m. or let's say every 2 days or every Friday. You can use this time for any off work talk. Hey, like hey, what's up? Or just like do some cool things, like let's say just dress up, like or organize party, organize happy hour, organize beer hours, organize pizza parties. I've personally seen awesome ideas coming out of these sessions. These are like your water cooler conversation that you do. So this is this time you'll have to schedule this time because this will help everyone build personal connections with everyone and know each other well. And also awesome ideas are going to come out of these things, as I said earlier. So it's going to be really helpful if we schedule this time. Also, as I said, like making people visible is important. So people generally become visible when there is something of interest for them. So recently, I'm consulting a company on remote work, and we did an experiment around this. So we organized, we kept on introducing new channels once in every 2 days. That boosted the engagement and boosted the employee morale as well. So things like workstation, just share your pictures of your workstation, like all like emoji wall or lunch pics, and then people were sharing awesome lunch pics and everyone got engaged, like in that channel. So and everyone started chatting with each other. Things about like common interests like plants, like music, like workout, like and family related stuff. So this you can give them a lot of common topics to talk about. This sort of like feeding things, this will help overall. This will help us overall by by giving them new things to talk about. This way, you'll improve your engagement and you'll improve your employee morale as well. So, having this kind of things is it's really helpful. I have seen them working out really well and to boost up the engagement. You can also organize online fun night. Uh, like we did it very recently. So you can schedule a bunch of online board games, call everyone on Tandem or on Discord, where you can, or on a Zoom call, and uh, and you can play a lot of games. For example, we played Fortnite, CS, Counter Strike, poker, a lot of board games. Uh, a snapshot of a game called Puerto Rico, uh, and we played Uno. We played a game called uh, Suzy, I guess. So we played a bunch of board games, and it sort of like brought everyone together. Right? You can also organize some cool new things. For example, like let's say if you have some budget, you can hire a comedian to do a stand-up show for your team, or you can organize a performance where everyone can just like perform, let's say, sing or play, and just have fun together. But while doing that, you'll have to use a tool like Discord, Tandem, or Zoom, so that everyone can see each other and build that relationship. This will bring fun again to the setup. And as you might have seen, like Friday parties really help to boost up the employee morale. Similar things can help boost up the employee morale as well. Following are some tools that I have seen working really well for remote work. For asynchronous communication, asynchronous communication is a kind of communication where you are not online together. For example, an email is asynchronous. Sorry. So as I explained, Geekbot is a tool, Notion, Slack, Grammarly, and why Grammarly? Because you are going to document a lot. Grammarly will help you eradicate all those basic mistakes that you might do and you might be embarrassed about. So have a tool installed, and it will just like help you correct a lot of things. Envision for collaboration on design and to get feedback on design. This can be replaced by Figma as well. A Loom to record your screen and your video and to communicate what you're going to communicate. This is good for bugs. Loom is really good for bugs or when you have to explain a process or when you have to explain some part of code. Another thing is synchronous communication. So synchronous is like when you two are online. For example, like a phone call. Following are the tools that you can use for synchronous communication. Slack is awesome. Whereby is a tool where you can just instantly start a video call. Zoom, of course, the winner of all. WhatsApp, Tandem is like a virtual office where you can make channels for particular teams, and if you just join the channel, a voice chat will start, which is cool. So it's like a virtual office. As I said, like there are a bunch of management tools which you can use. So Asana, Jira, Trello, Notion, GitHub, Monday. Just feel free to pick any and you can use them. Jira is awesome for developers. GitHub is awesome for developers as well. For marketing, I've seen Trello and Asana working well. For others, Notion works well. And Monday is a very general project management tool which can be used for operations, marketing, or any other activity. I've seen a lot of common mistakes done by companies while working remotely. So even today, I had a conversation with the CEO of a company, and he said, "Dude, remote work is going to go away in a week or so, and then we are going to work fine again. I mean, why bother about building processes around remote work?" You are absolutely wrong. Remote work is here to stay. Uh, you will have to have a flexible work from home policy going forward. Otherwise, it will be very hard for you to retain people or to attract new talent. Now and in the future, talent is going to demand a flexible work from home policy, and you'll have to respond to that. I've also seen very low trust on employees in general because they're working remotely. So they are being forced to be online. That if you're not online, you're not working. I mean, it does not make sense. Come on, if I'm thinking I would just like to go for a walk, or I would just like to shut off my computer. I mean, it is my choice, right? I mean, who are you to say that I should be online? Uh, then I mean, often I've seen like there's no leave policy for the remote employee. So there should be a leave policy for remote employee. Like let's say, because it is okay to think like, hey, it is weekend or like today is a holiday, and but given that everyone is working from home, there is no holiday as such. Have those holidays. You have to have a leave policy with your company. Unhealthy culture. This really hampers remote work, and I've seen a bunch of companies facing a lot of issues around this. In fact, a very famous company was facing this issue. A friend of mine, again the CEO of a decently big remote work company, approximately 150 200 employees, and they were facing a lot of attrition. Um, while trying to understand what is going on, we realized that managers were doing a lot of late night calls because CEO was very pushy, and those deadlines had to be met. Once in a while, it is okay to do late night calls, but this should not become a regular thing. You should not have unfair expectations just because your employees are working remotely. Don't use too many unnecessary tools. I've seen like managers or like product people trying out a new tool every week or 2 weeks. This will confuse your team members. Introduce a new tool until unless only and only when you are totally satisfied that it is going to improve your team's efficiency or your own efficiency. A lot of people have asked, like, how do you keep the data secure while working remotely? So there are some very easy things. For example, using a password manager like LastPass or KeePass. That way, you will not have to like type your password somewhere or type your password on Slack or on iMessage or somewhere else. This way, you can share password easily, and it is much secure that way. Use a VPN. I personally use ExpressVPN. It is awesome, low cost, and works everywhere, and gives you like a lot of security. Back up your data frequently because at any point in time you can be hacked. So it will be important to have that backup. Always do updates and updates to your system and programs. Let's say if there's a new Mac OS update or new Windows update, they might be fixing a lot of bugs or a lot of security vulnerabilities in that. So update whenever you can. And be aware, if you're getting a phishing email, don't click on that. As simple as that, right? Additionally, in addition to this, you should also manage your router. So make sure that you have like a secure router. So these were the things about remote work. Again, remote work is awesome. So I'm sure like you're going to have fun remotely, have fun working remotely. So let us get in a few questions. Cool, awesome. So this is the time you can ask us questions if you have any, and we'll be responding them here. What so the question is, what if your schedule doesn't match with others in the team? Yeah, this is very common. I mean, I have worked with 8 different time zones, and it is this call is happening across for people in 4 different time zones. So this will happen, and there's a very easy trick to avoid that by having a common working hours. So you can, for example, let's say if you're in Eastern time zone, and uh, and you have your team members in on the West Coast, or somewhere in Europe or in India. You can have a time zone which works for everyone. For example, like you can have the initial 4 to 5 hours, which is initial 4 to 5 hours of your day, of your early morning Eastern time, to collaborate with all of your team members. So having a 4 to 5 hours of common working window where you are supposed to respond to things fast can really help um, can really help you organize organize your team and be really efficient as well. I hope that answers your question. If it doesn't, feel free to answer another question. How to resolve Sanjay Goyal has asked this question. How to resolve cross team dependencies for a large project? And there are 2 questions. How to make sure other teams pick up the task decided upon and deliver on time? This is a great question. Really, thank you for asking this question. So how to resolve, I'll answer them in two. Those are 2 different questions. So I'll answer them one by one. How to resolve cross-team dependencies for a large project? Um, a good way to do this. So we had 120 people working at one point in time, and there was like a bunch of projects going on in one go. What we used to do was we used to schedule common meetings of the leaders or of relevant people frequently. So we used to do meetings once in every 2 day or twice every week to to get everyone on the same page while uh, wherever there's a dependency. For example, let's say if product team is launching something and there is some uh, so for example, let's say there's a product team and product team is launching something. Uh, on the other side, you have to collaborate with the marketing team for that product launch. What you can do is having a product manager regularly having a product manager schedule calls with a developer and the marketing manager there, and do that frequently until unless you launch that product, right? That way you will be able to resolve cross-team dependencies faster and bring everyone on the same page. Just one thing is make sure that these calls are scheduled in advance. So of course there are going to be a lot of ad hoc calls, like let us just discuss this thing just now. Uh, Sorry about that. So have something scheduled. For example, every Wednesday, 3 p.m. we'll meet and discuss the dependencies or discuss like where is the team at. We have done this for different departments. For example, marketing, ops, and product and tech. They usually come together and discuss all the dependencies twice every week, which are Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I mean, depending on your equation, your team meeting, this has worked really well for us. But as I said, these dependencies or these things usually are solved by transparency and by frequent communication. Frequent communication can be solved by organizing such meetings or being on the same channel, but transparency can be solved by adding each other to project management tools. For example, product manager can be on the project management tool of marketing team, or the engineering manager can be on the project management tool of the marketing team. I hope that answers your question, Sanjay. Thank you, Joom. Thank you, Joom, if I'm pronouncing it correctly. Sorry about that. Thank you, Joom, for sharing this feedback. So the question is, I would like to know some tools dedicated to just capture the feedback of the candidates just interviewed. I haven't found anything so far. It's our emails, Slack, sometimes verbal, but no one place to capture the inputs that can be used for future references. This is a really good question. There's actually a few ATS which enables you to do that. For example, Recruiter Box has this feature which enables you to take feedback uh, just after the after an interview has been done, or you can also schedule. You can also have some cool things for you can also have some cool setup done. For example, a form to be mailed to the interviewee right after the interview. Right. This way, you can get everyone's feedback easily. Additionally, another way to capture this is by using a costly ATS. For example, Liver has this feature. But again, they are costly. So if you are okay to pay that money, I mean, this is a good way. But I mean, there are a few cheap tools which offer these things. Recruiter Box is one. You should check that out. Another question by Mr. AAA. This way, it is almost like using your security was using your working hours and mostly my work. So the question is that uh, I have come across some companies who ask to have at least 6 common working hours. This way, it is almost like losing your flexibility of choosing your working hours. You're absolutely right. I'm mostly an early morning guy and I wrap up my work by 2 o'clock. But since most of the other team members start their work by 10 or 11, it is very difficult to stick to my morning schedule. You're absolutely right. I've seen that happening myself as well because I remember the project where I had to collaborate with someone from Singapore, and I was in Eastern time zone at that point in time, and I am a morning guy myself. It really hampered my productivity. So I had to negotiate. I mean, there was no other way out. I mean, manager knew that okay. I mean, my productivity is important, and my manager was good there. So uh, so I had to I negotiated it to be like around 3 to 4 working hours where I would be available. And also, I mean, you can start your day even earlier. You can start your day even earlier, and and be available at that time. Let's say, for example, if you take an example of a time zone, let's say Eastern time zone or like Pacific time zone, and and Indian time zone. So I think there are 12 or 13 hours. There's a 12 or 13 hours difference. So what I have recently recommended a company that what they should do is they should I mean they should divide it. They should do alternate late nights or early mornings. So, for example, in 1 week, uh, the team on the Pacific coast, on the west coast, they were doing early mornings, and and on the other day they were doing like late nights. On the other week they were doing late nights. This might be a good hack to try. However, I mean, mostly it comes down to negotiation with your manager that, okay, like I want a few hours of my time here to work productively, and the other time I'll use this time to collaborate with others. That is the only way. This is the only way which works, I guess. I hope I answered your question. Cool. Are there any more questions? Okay, thanks. Perfect. So again, thank you so much for being here today. We will be sharing this presentation and the recording of a webinar with you as well very soon. And if you have any doubts, feel free to reach out to us at hello@indies.io or nitish@indies.io, and we'll be more than happy to answer your queries. I know that we are living in a very tough time, and I know that it might be very difficult for you, but but this is the best time to be productive and to learn to work remotely, because this skill is going to stay with you forever. Thank you for taking the initiative, for being here today. You're already one step ahead. And please stay safe. Please stay safe. Be with your families. Don't go outside. Um, uh, Take caution. We are fighting a world war, and it is important that we fight it really, really well. And we'll have to do our best in these times. Also, again, just to reiterate, if you are looking to hire anyone, or if there's anywhere where we can help in terms of onboarding a new team member for you, please feel free to reach out to us. We'll be more than happy to do that. Again, thank you so much for being here today, uh, uh, and spending this time with us. We really appreciate it. Thank you so much again. Bye bye.